showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
I want to welcome everybody out today to episode 196 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. I'm your host. My name is Chris Hollifield. Thank you so much for checking the show out, giving it a listen. However you got here, whoever introduced it to you, thank you so much. Whatever Google search you used to get here, thank you. However you stumbled upon it. I know my longtime listeners are like, wait a minute, you got 2 shows this week, 2 episodes of the podcast. That is correct. I know I just released one a couple days ago on my normal Sunday evening, but I got a special show for you guys this week, chatting with Jimmy Dilley from Nightmare on 13th. They got a really cool event that's going to be happening here in just a couple days. That's why I wanted to get this out a little bit early. They're doing what's called Blackout. It's where they turn out all the lights. They give you these LED finger lights to experience the nightmare like you've never seen before. I know you've driven by it. I know longtime Salt Lakers, new Salt Lakers, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the Nightmare, the castle, right there on the corner of 300 West, 1300 South. Go check it out. They're going to be opened up this weekend, Friday the 13th and Saturday the 14th. You can go check out their website for more information, nightmareon13th.com. I'll put all the links in the show notes. It was a really cool conversation. We kind of got to find out some of the history of Nightmare on 13th, kind of what they do behind the scenes. A lot of stuff that I didn't even know about, and I'm sure you, the listener, know nothing about as well. And I'm going to be getting into that conversation here in just a minute. Of course, want to mention our sponsor, Club 50 West, located right in downtown Salt Lake City, right at 50 West Broadway. Go check them out. They've been having a lot of really cool comedy, a lot of great music there, a lot of really cool events. Their website, 50westslc.com. Go check it out. You can see a complete lineup. You can buy tickets right there online. You can get in touch with them, connect with them on Facebook. I know they're on Twitter and Instagram as well. Also, they got really good food. They're open daily. Go check that out if you want a bite to eat, if you're downtown, if you're looking for some breakfast or lunch. They're open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And let them know. Let the folks know at 50 West that you heard about them on I Am Salt Lake. That way they know I'm doing my job in spreading the word and the message all about them. So like I said, episode 196. This is with Jimmy Dilley from Nightmare on 13th. I chatted right on location. We talked right at Nightmare on 13th. So enough of this intro. Why don't you all join me as I sit down and find out the story of Nightmare on 13th. So how long have you been here with Nightmare on 13th?
I've been with the Nightmare for 8 years, but I've been working in the haunt industry for about 10 years. So I'm seasoned in doing this type of
What
trade.
were you doing before?
I actually ran a nonprofit haunted house before I came to work for the Nightmare. So I did that when I was 16 and 17, and that led me into really loving Halloween and the haunted house season. And then that's where I started to wanting to work with a more professional haunted house. So when I did that, I was out in eastern Utah, in Price, Utah, and there really wasn't much entertainment out there, and it was kind of fun to do that. And then I realized that with a lot more hard work, I could actually work for a big haunted house.
And so how did you get connected with, I mean, do you share that story a little bit?
How I got connected here?
Yeah, with Nightmare on 13th.
It was actually kind of a whim. When I moved up to Salt Lake, it was my senior year of high school, and I was looking for haunted houses that were fun and a little bit darker than other ones. And there were quite a few haunted houses at the time, but the Nightmare just kind of stuck out to me as a haunt that seemed like a place I'd want to work. So I started as an actor. I auditioned, and at first I didn't realize I was actually getting paid to do this, to scare people. And then they told me in the interview process, hey, we were going to pay you to scare people. And I was like, that's awesome. Cool. I get to be paid to scare the tar out of people. And just kind of worked my way up the chain year after year after year. And then in 2011, they invited me onto the creative team, which led me into doing all the more managerial roles that I do now. So
yeah, and I want to get into, I mean, obviously, people that work here, how you get into working here, how people that are here, how they got here. And haunted house in general and a bunch of different things, but I don't want to get there quite yet, actually. So what is your title here then? Do you have a title, or
I do have a title.
What is your? Let's go over your responsibilities.
I am actually the art and casting director. So I deal with all of the design of the building, how the show is going to be, how it performs. And then as a group, we kind of work on it all together. But I'm kind of the guy that makes it look cohesive.
Okay.
And then during season, I'm also the guy that hires all 150 employees and train them how to scare people and to be the characters that we designed for the show. So I'm kind of the guy that makes sure it all jives well together, from the conceptual phase to the actual running of the show.
Wow. So you got a lot of responsibility.
A lot of responsibilities. Most people that work in a haunted house have like 3-4 jobs. I have to do all the photoshopping for our ads. I come up with slogans. I come up with the characters, costumes, and a lot of us that work here, we all do that. Like, we have a technical director that makes sure all the walls are properly built, and then he makes sure everything's up to fire code and all that. So all of us have that work here year round, which there are about 4 of us that work here year round. We have many, many, many jobs in order to actually sustain this establishment.
So you're here year round. It's not just
Year-round.
during the times that it's open for the haunted house.
Yeah,
so what do you do? I mean, what are you doing like in December and January? What do you do?
Most people don't actually realize, in order to build a building this elaborate and this large, we have to be in here all year round. We're already conceptualizing our show for 2016 right now, in the middle of 2015 season. It takes a full year to develop it. So we're on the drawing board right now of figuring out, hey, what worked this year, what didn't work this year, what are the customers engaged in? And we do that now because it's fresh with us, of what the customers are thinking about, what they liked, what they didn't like, so that we can one up next year. And that's kind of how we've been doing it for 25 years. And that's one of the reasons why we've been so well established and so well known nationally, is because we do that. We're in here year round. It's not like other haunted houses in the area where they just kind of come in and dust off the props and turn it back on. We're changing a good hunk of it, and we want to keep making it better. I mean, it's like a horror movie. You watch a horror movie once and it scares you, but you watch it a second time and you know when all the jumps are coming and all the little scary stuff's coming. Haunted house is the same thing. So if we're not constantly changing it up, it's not as scary.
Yeah.
So that is a year-round task for us to keep it that updated and to make sure it tops itself every single year.
Actually, let's talk about that for a second. I didn't touch on that yet. 25 years. This was the 25th anniversary. 2015 was the 25th anniversary. Let's back up a little bit, actually, because I want to touch on that story. The person who started this.
There were 2 people that started this.
Yeah, 25 years ago.
25 years ago. Mike Henry and Troy Barber, they're business partners in the Nightmare. They bought the old Institute of Terror back in the day, and they essentially bought 2 storage units full of stuff and didn't have very much time to figure out how to do it, and they just kind of got into it as a business opportunity. And then throughout the years, they've just grown the business into this huge 36,000 square foot building. Actually, this last year, Troy Barber got out of the business, and now Mike Henry is the sole owner of the Nightmare. But they have been at it for 25 years and still love it as much as the day they started
and do they get out and scare at all? Do they come out?
They don't get out and scare. They're actually businessmen. But
have they ever? I mean, did they ever?
Oh yeah, they did back in the day. I've heard stories of them scaring people, which helped them kind of get connected to how this all works. But they really manage it as a business, and then they hire other people like myself, like Michael Clint, like Jake Maybe, and Alyssa, and we help manage it all because we're a little bit younger. We know how the actors do it, and we've been there with them. I mean, all of us in management have acted at some point in time, so that we know what the actors go through, and so we can help them be better at what they're doing.
Sure.
So it's a big team effort here, and there's a good hunk of us that do it.
So when does the haunted house open up? Like, it's in September. I mean, is there like a third week in September?
Usually,
roughly,
it's 3 weekends in September, and then all of October. And then this year, we're actually opening up on November 13th and 14th for a special event we're doing called Blackout.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about. That
it is going to be the coolest thing. One thing that actually truly terrifies me about this building is when the lights are completely out, because this place, the whole environment is designed to be as dark as possible. But when you turn off the show lights, it is about as scary as it can potentially get. And we're actually going on the November 13th and 14th, we're actually going to be doing that for the public and giving them small little lights to go through it in the pitch black. So if you're absolutely terrified of the dark, this is going to be like the coolest event.
Okay, so it's going to be on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, Friday and Saturday. So that's November 13th and 14th, which is Friday the 13th and 14th.
And this is the first time you've ever done something like this?
Yes, it is, actually.
Why, just because it's happened to fall on Friday the 13th after?
We're going to be doing more annual things throughout the year. I mean, we're talking of doing Valentine's shows in the future, and any Friday the 13th we're probably going to open up. We found over the last couple years, mainly the last like 5 years or so, that the audience that comes through the Nightmare on 13th actually is very interested in it year round. And so we started opening up more for like spring events and the occasional Friday the 13th. And so we're going to start making kind of more of an effort to open up simultaneous sometimes during the year so that people can get their horror fix all year round instead of just this one time a year. Because I know I have many friends that during October, it's like one of the busiest time of years for lots of people. And sometimes people don't get a chance to come out during October. But, you know, hey, spring break comes and you're a college student. All of a sudden the haunted house opens up. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're still in town, not out. And, you know.
And you want to get scared. You want to get, shooken up a little bit. So how much, what are the hours? So like people listening, obviously for the 13th and 14th.
We'll be opening up at 7:30.
7:30.
And then that will be going till 11 p.m.
And tickets to get in.
You can get them at nightmareon13th.com.
How much? The prices will probably be online.
They'll be online,
Okay.
There's different tickets for what you want to do. You can get a VIP ticket or a general admission ticket, and they
for the Friday the 13th event. Yep. Now, anything else you want to talk about that? Why we're talking about that? I mean, it's pretty much so the lights are going to be. I mean, there's going to be other things besides that.
We'll still have all like the special effects going on with the show. The actors will still be done in full makeup. It's the exact same show that we do during season, except in the pitch black.
Now you got my attention because I just barely, a couple weeks ago went through the haunted house. First time actually ever at Nightmare on 13th. And so I could not imagine that in the pitch black.
Yeah, it's going to be terrifying, honestly.
So 25 years, okay. What was different this year versus other years, or every year it's something different? Or talk about that.
So in the past years, we've been doing 3 themes, new kind of stories and themes that go on every year. This year in particular, we did the best of 25 years. So what we did is we took rooms that were very famous from the past that we had kind of let go of and brought them back and updated them for this year. So we had old rooms like the Bates Motel that we brought back, which people really loved and cherished. We brought back our most famous theater narrators, which was the Crypt Keeper and Beetlejuice. Absolutely hilarious skits of them bickering back and forth and farting on each other. It's a hoot. And then, of course, we also, because we do believe in always changing and adding new things to it, we also did add some new things that are really quite elaborate, like our whole steampunk section, which is this kind of sci-fi, early 20s, steam-powered, futuristic thing.
Yeah.
It was really quite fun. And so we brought a whole bunch of the best things we've ever done, from old themes to old rooms, and brought them into one giant show. And I've never heard so many pleased people coming out of the back. I mean, I always try to pull people out the back to kind of gauge my audience and know what they want to see. And this year's reviews were just awesome. People loved this show in particular.
Oh, it was great. It was great. What's like the craziest thing, or I mean, I'm sure you've seen just people scared. I mean, what are some things that you've seen happen? Like, has anybody fainted or thrown up or crapped their pants? Even?
I got a good one. I've smelt crapped pants. I've seen wet pants. One of the most crazy reactions to fear I've ever seen is back when I was a security guard before I was the casting director. I came across a woman who was scared so crapless in our mirror maze that she went catatonic. Like, she was not, we scared her so bad she couldn't move.
Sure.
And so we actually had to get her out of the haunted house. We had a few security guards escort her out, and then as we were escorting her out, she snapped awake and looked at us and freaked out and ran away. And we never really found out what happened to her. But yeah, that was one of the craziest reactions to fear I've seen. There's all sorts of funny ways people react to fear. A lot of people laugh. A lot of people laugh with their friends, or I see sometimes you get the fight or flight response. Most of the time people run away when they're scared. Occasionally you get people that are like, go in, they try to whap you or something. But there's all sorts of funny reactions. I can't name my favorite one.
Does it get tough? I mean, having a haunted house, like legalities, and I mean,
surprisingly, no. We don't really have very many problems.
You know, I would just be nervous. Like even myself, when I walk through, it's like, gosh, I'd hate to like react the wrong way and like punch one of the workers, or you know, just from that natural reaction.
I mean, yeah, you get that. That does happen occasionally, not as much as you would think. And we actually spend, we are in here year round, so we actually understand the building a lot better than most people. We are incredibly safe here. We think a room through way more than most haunted houses would, and there are actually, most people don't know this, but this place is Big Brother. You're on surveillance from the time you pull into the parking lot to the time you walk into the house, and we can follow you through the entire house. And so that actually has really helped us understand how customers react to fear. And so when there have been problems, we're able to quickly change them before they become a hazard to people. We're all about safety. When you're in a haunted house of this size, it's got to be fun and safe. If it's fun but dangerous, no one's going to come to your show because they hear about the danger of it. And, a 25-year establishment, if it wasn't safe, it wouldn't be here. Most haunted houses that aren't safe get shut down pretty quick by the city.
I went to a haunted house a few years ago, and they had the option to get touched. Do you guys do that here or no?
We do not touch. We believe that touching people is kind of a cop-out to creating good fear. Also, when you touch people, you kind of allow them to touch you back. And that is actually very dangerous. I've heard of hands-on haunted houses that have had actors pummeled by customers because they touched them the wrong way. And in general, we want good, clean family fun here. We don't really want to go too crazy and start manhandling people, because I personally feel it's a cop-out. There's so many cool effects and characters and different ways to scare people that you don't have to touch them. And also by touching people, you kind of take the fun out of it and you add the terror into it.
Yeah.
Which haunted houses they're meant to be fun and scary, but not traumatizing. And I feel like some haunted houses kind of take it a little too far.
Absolutely.
But that's just us here. We believe in no hands-on. A lot of families come here, and we want to make sure that when a parent drops off their kids to go to the Nightmare on 13th, that parent can trust us to know that we are going to respect their kids' boundaries, or any person's boundaries, as well as they respect ours. So
absolutely. Yeah, I was just curious, kind of, what makes some haunted houses go that direction, just because I know nothing about haunted houses. So.
I don't really know why some haunted houses choose it. I know why we choose not to do it. Yeah. Some people believe it's more traumatizing, but I actually remember going to a convention, a haunted house convention a few years ago. I was talking to an owner that was considering doing it. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to bag people, and, I'm going to manhandle them while we do it. And that's going to be really scary. And I was like, it's going to be scary for you. Yeah. But think about where we are. We're in this business all the time, so we want to be scared. But the average consumer isn't going to see it that way. They're going to be quite traumatized by what haunted house designers are going to think is scary. So, and some haunts are going that route, and I hope they do it safely. But we choose not to do that here. It's not our thing.
There's haunted house conventions?
It's a big hidden industry that most people have no clue about. The haunted house industry itself.
Like a Comic-Con convention?
It's cooler than Comic-Con. I'm just going to say this. Salt Lake City Comic-Con goers, you haven't seen a cool convention until you've heard of Trans World.
Okay.
So there are haunted house conventions. There's actually quite a few of them. I would say there's probably about 8 of them across the country.
Where's the biggest one?
The biggest one is in St. Louis, Missouri, and it's called Trans World Haunted House Show. And it is crazy. It is like anything you can think Halloween, it is there, and it is big and bad. It's awesome. I go to it every single year, and we go to the whole collective of us that manage this place. We go every single year because we want to find out what's new, what new types of technology we can use, what's the biggest, baddest monsters we can find. And we go there and we actually develop our haunted house from some of the new items we find every year there. And it is the craziest convention I have ever seen in my entire life. And I still have little boy moments every time I walk onto that showroom floor because it's crazy. I cannot describe the level of Halloween and awesome that is all in one place as it is to go to one of those conventions.
Yeah, no, I want to Google it now.
Go Google it. It is the craziest thing. Trans World Haunt Show. Look it up. It's the craziest thing you'll ever see. Most people actually don't know that the haunted house industry itself is $1 billion industry. It's not spook alleys like it was in the 90s anymore. People love getting scared, and it has become big business to do that. And so, we're actually, the Nightmare on 13th itself is actually considered a mega haunted house, and only 2% of haunted houses are as large as the haunted houses here in Utah.
Well, to talk about some of the awards that Nightmare on 13th, because you've got some
we've been
awards,
rated,
right?
Yeah.
Talk about those.
We've been rated number 2 in the nation by BuzzFeed. We've been rated in the top 10 of Fangoria, USA Today, Yahoo, all sorts of awards we've gotten.
And this is in the nation. This is just Utah.
Yeah. And there are 20,000 haunted houses in the country. And we're ranked in the top 10 consistently in all sorts of lists that other different news providers go out and research, and then they put out their list. And we're almost always in the top 10. So
what do you think, like, the furthest someone's come to a Nightmare on 13th? I mean, have you heard of like people like coming down from
Europe that have come, Australia? People come from all over the world,
but not just to come here, not just to come here,
but they have come through.
Sure.
And I've had friends from like Pennsylvania come out here to see the show, California,
So what do you? Okay, so this is your full-time job. This is your year-round.
That's all I do.
What are some of your other hobbies and interests? A little bit more about Jimmy, really quickly. I always like to touch base on the people that I chat with.
My hobbies are things that actually go hand in hand with the haunted house.
Well, such as
I love scenic design, so I research it all the time. It's kind of my hobby. I make my own masks. I actually have my own company that I do kind of side projects with.
Which is what? I mean, that sounds interesting.
Masks and oddities, and I sell them on Etsy. I'm a small dealer, so whatever I make that wouldn't go into the show that I make just because I wanted to make it, I sell them.
Well, how can we? I mean, do you care to plug that a little bit here?
Nah, it's okay.
No, okay. Because I thought, well,
you can look it up. It's NEX-FX. You
Okay,
can find me on Instagram, Facebook.
Well, I want to look, and I'm sure people listening.
I do a lot of Dark Harvest kind of style stuff, things that are a little more classic Halloween.
Sure. So. What's your all-time favorite horror movie? Scary movie.
Are you seriously asking me that question? There's a list.
Well, okay, top 5.
Top 5. I am a big Clive Barker fan. I love all the stuff he's done. So Nightbreed's probably one of my favorites. I love Hellraiser. I also love movies like Trick or Treat. You gotta love the slashers like Michael Myers. I love a lot of Del Toro films like Pan's Labyrinth and Crimson Peak, stuff like that. Those are usually the types of films that actually inspire me for the show that we do here. I like that a little bit more surreal type of horror movies. I love monsters. Every one of us that works here and designs this place, we all are big monster fans. And so yeah, those are the type of horror movies I like.
You mentioned 150 people work here.
Yeah.
Like, say somebody like myself. People. I mean, can anybody come and get a job here?
Actually, yeah, you can.
Or what's that process
Some
like?
of the higher up jobs like scenic design and murals and technical stuff, those jobs are pretty much always taken. No, they very, very rarely do we have an opening on those. But for acting and support staff, we hire about 150 people to do those types of roles. And we usually advertise those on our website. You can actually go and apply through our website. We have an employment tab at the bottom. And I hire all sorts of walks of life. I love hiring people that are kind of misfits because misfits make really good employees, surprisingly. The haunted house creates this kind of sense of community for those types of people. So
awesome. Well, I might have to check it out next year.
Yeah,
maybe,
it is most people don't realize the actual work it goes into training someone how to actually properly scare a person. Most haunted houses, they just give you a mask and point to a corner and say, here, pop out here. We actually have a whole structured program of like, here's the basics of drama. Like, here's how to improv. Here's how to build a character. Here's how to move your body. Here's how to place yourself in the set. And then we go even further. We actually teach our actors how to keep themselves healthy during the season, and even how to work rooms specifically before the show even opens. We're training people how to do it. We don't just throw them in a corner and say, here you go, good luck.
Yeah.
Well, I always want to give my employees the tools to do as good a job as humanly possible, because that's one of the reasons why we're so consistently rated high in the country, is because we're not just throwing them anywhere. We're giving all our employees that work for us the opportunity to be as good as possible. And as a community, we all kind of work toward that goal.
I'm going to throw a really odd question at you, but it's if I don't ask it, then the listeners are going to be like, you didn't ask Jimmy this question. So every person that I bring on the show, I always ask favorite local eating spots. If you have any favorite places that you like to eat at.
I do have one.
Just because this is Utah and Salt Lake City. We gotta promote local here.
I love Lucky 13. It is right up the street.
Yeah.
That is like my favorite burger joint to go. I go there every week, easily every week. And they come through every single season. So it's fun to support their business, and they support our business. And
they are great. Have you had the peanut butter burger from?
Yes.
Isn't that great?
Awesome. Have you had the mac and cheese burger they have on Saturdays, the special?
I don't know if I
go on a Saturday and have the mac and cheese burger. It is so delicious.
they're everything there, the fries, the atmosphere, everything with Lucky 13. Well, like I said, people listening will be like, you didn't ask him that question, so I had to ask that question. I've had a great time chatting with you and getting to know. How can people find out more about Nightmare? I guess the website. What's the website?
NightmareOn13th.com. You can also find us on Facebook as well, which is just Nightmare on 13th. We constantly make content online all the time. So even in the off season, you can follow us and find out what we're doing. And, we're pretty engaged with our audience all the time, because our haunted house would be nothing without the community that actually supports us.
Yeah. Well, I'll put those links on the show notes for this podcast.
That would be awesome. And people are more than welcome to go on our website and see what we do if you haven't been here before. We have plenty of photos and videos up, so people can go see the media that we actually put out, and it gives you a little taste of what the Nightmare actually is. As well as if you follow us on Facebook, there's tons of stuff we're announcing all the time. We announce when we do our employment. We'll tell you what the themes are coming up in the next year, special events, discounts, all that type of stuff.
And then Friday, November 13th, Saturday, November 14th.
Yes, we'll be open for Blackout.
This is going to be awesome and amazing. I'm definitely going to come and check it out.
I'm excited for it.
No, awesome. I'm so excited. And thank you again. The tickets I gave out at the live show. Thank you so much for those. I've enjoyed our chat. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Many thanks goes out to Jimmy Dilley for coming on this episode of the podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. I found out a lot about it. I've seen it driven by it a bunch of times and even been a few times, but I didn't really know the history of Nightmare on 13th. So hopefully you all enjoyed the conversation. Again, go check it out. Blackout's going on November 13th and 14th. You can find out more about it on the website. I'm sure they got it on their Facebook page and all of that. I'm going to put it on the show notes for this episode that you can find at iamsaltlake.com/196. iamsaltlake.com is actually the website for everything podcast related. All the back episodes, everything you want to know about it. I'm going to be updating it more here. I got it a little more searchable. I feel like a little bit easier of a layout to navigate. So head on over there. You got links to connect so you can subscribe on iTunes. There's a donate link where you can kick on over $1 or $2. It helps fund the project, helps keep the podcast going. And I want to thank those of you that have helped out. It's very much appreciated. The podcast will, of course, always be free, but $1 or $2 donation goes a long ways. Because right now I'm mostly funding this project out of my own pocket, and so I'd like to keep it moving forward. And with your financial help, I'll be able to do that, I think. So connect with me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, all under I Am Salt Lake. You can find that all on iamsaltlake.com. Support our sponsor, 50 West, Club 50 West, located right in downtown Salt Lake City, 50 West Broadway. Give them some love as well on Facebook and Twitter. And you guys have a great week, and hopefully you enjoyed having a couple episodes out this week. It's been a little while since I've done a couple episodes. I kind of miss it. I kind of miss coming out with these awesome conversations. So many rad people here in Salt Lake City to talk to, so many great conversations to be had. And sometimes one episode a week isn't enough to, keep it going and keep you guys satisfied. So drop me an email. Love to hear from you guys. iamsaltlake@gmail.com. I do have a voicemail. I know I don't tell you guys very much. 385-202-5926. You can call the voicemail. You could text it. Whatever. Just get in touch. I love to hear from you guys. So with that being said, again, my name is Chris Hollifield. You guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you guys again on Sunday.